Samantha B. Welcome to Full Frontal. Now, as you may recall, Donald Trump ran for president on two platforms. One, his human platform, Chris Christie, and two, a promise to hashtag drain the swamp.
We are going to drain the swamp of corruption in Washington, D.C.
I'm not going to let Wall Street get away with murder. The Wall Street investors who have rigged the regulations against the middle class. Well, Goldman Sachs, they have total control over Hillary Clinton.
When you cast that ballot, just picture a Wall Street boardroom filled with the special interests who have been bleeding your country and your city and every place else.
I'll admit it was nice to see Donald Trump concerned about bleeding that wasn't Megyn Kelly's. Draining the swamp appeals to everyone, except biodiversity nerds who'd like to remind us that swamps are a wonderful and valuable part of our ecosystem. Hashtag not all swamps. Well, good news, gator huggers. Trump was lying.
Today, the Trump administration announced its fifth straight high-profile hire from Goldman Sachs.
As the saying goes, keep your friends close and your friends that you called your enemies when you were saying any fucking thing to get elected, closer. The Joey Fatone of Trump's Goldman boy band is hedge fund manager and John Oliver's evil twin, Steve Mnuchin, whose Senate confirmation hearing is tomorrow. You may never have heard the name Mnuchin before, other than in a diner at 2 a.m. where a drunk sophomore is trying to order more nachos, but this mystery nerd is gonna be our next Treasury Secretary. A fact he's so sure of, he's already updated his job title in the Yale Alumni Directory. That is real. Oh, Steve read The Secret and made the Yale Directory his vision board. Way to manifest. Where were we? Oh, right, draining the swamp. Treasurer of the United States is an important job, unlike the treasurer of any club in junior high school, which is made up to give the unpopular kids something to do. So what the heck? Let's learn a little about his post-Goldman career.
Mnuchin made a fortune on Wall Street, then headed to Hollywood to bankroll blockbuster films.
Smash hit movies in some cases, like Suicide Squad.
For those not familiar, Suicide Squad is the world's first feature that was made by just pouring a can of Monster Energy drink onto a reel of film. It's also my nickname for working class people who voted for Trump. They are so screwed. Of course, they were already screwed by the Great Recession of 2008, or as Mnuchin remembers it, the Great Recession of 2008, when Steve Mnuchin took a financial crash and turned it into a crasher-tunity.
Steve Mnuchin left Goldman Sachs, bought a bank called IndyMac, changed the name of that bank, and foreclosed on 36,000 people.
That's how Mnuchin earned the nickname Foreclosure King, not to be confused with the cheapest bed at the Mattress Warehouse. King Steve's gross new company specialized in reverse mortgages, a financial product targeted at people old enough to have masturbated to the Rockford Files.
Hi, this is James Garner for Financial Freedom.
Wow, where do I sign?
If you're 62 or older and own your own home, I'd like to talk to you about something you should know.
Yes, what you should know is that Financial Freedom is a subsidiary of One West, whose goal was to foreclose on IndyMac's reverse mortgages as fast as possible.
His bank was responsible for more than 1/3 of all reverse mortgage foreclosures.
Just 10 days after Monroe died, she got a letter from the bank. It was foreclosing on the home. She had 60 days to leave.
Why would you foreclose on my house? I've lived here since 1963.
The person who bought the reverse mortgage could stay in his or her house until they died, but after death, everyone else living in the house would have to go unless they paid back the loan.
The practice even has a name: widow foreclosures.
Jesus, what do the other inmates do to you in jail when they find out you're a widow forecloser? Oh, right, nothing, because you don't go to jail. You sell the company, take a $380 million profit, and get promoted to Treasury Secretary before this happens.
HUD is currently investigating Financial Freedom for this practice of widow foreclosures.
Well, at least vulnerable old ladies will now be protected, as long as there's an alert watchdog on the job at HUD.
What do you think you took away from today?
My luggage. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, shit, Mima! Change the locks and load the shotgun, hurry! When they weren't snatching grandma houses, One West was reportedly tricking their other customers into defaulting.
They were told by banks that you had to be late on payments so that you could qualify for a loan modification, and then once you went late on a payment, they then foreclosed on you.
They foreclosed on us.
That same year, Florida resident Ossie Lofton, who had taken a reverse mortgage, the company foreclosed on the 90-year-old Lofton after a 27-cent payment error.
Okay, but to be fair, when that 90-year-old lady was born, 27 cents would buy you 3 chickens and a hand-cranked vibrator. Mnuchin might pine for the glory days of high-risk lending that crashed the world economy, but fortunately, the man who's getting evicted from his home this Friday put in place some pretty good protections to make sure that doesn't happen again. So don't worry, we're safe.
We want to strip back parts of Dodd-Frank that prevent banks from lending.
What about the Volcker Rule and the Consumer Protection Bureau?
Well, you know, I would just say we're going to look at all these things.
Look at them how? Oh God, there were so many widows in there. Let's hope and pray that the next 4 years will be like Steve's film Suicide Squad, where the group of bad guys end up actually saving the day. But it'll probably be like Steve's film Entourage. Most people didn't want it, it disappointed those who did, and it only helped those who were directly involved in it. We'll be right back.